Hey, it's Sally Steele. Welcome to the Sally Steele Rock Show. I want to thank my sponsor, Rocka Vodka, the vodka that rocks. Now, my guest today is one of my earliest influences in my life. I wanted to be her. She was so amazing. She was like a wild hellcat trying to fight her way out of a bag with a bass guitar. She sold over 50 million records. And when I joined a band in a few years after I started buying all her records, I made the band learn all their songs. I fought with kids in the school if they didn't like her, and I just kept raving about her. And I am so honored to have this guest, and I'm going to bring her on now. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my idol and one of my biggest influences of my life. Please welcome Suzi Quatro. How you doing, Suzi?
How you doing? I just show my Detroit T-shirt here. There we are.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah. I know you're from Detroit. Now I'm going to be asking a lot of questions. You know, I was jealous. My friend interviewed you, and I was like, "How did you interview her? I've been looking for her for years."
Well, I haven't been hiding.
Um,
I've been doing so much
that
press lately with the albums coming out and everything. Yeah, there's a lot happening right now. A lot.
yeah. Now you're in Germany right now, right?
Yeah, I've been married to my German husband for 30 years, and we've always run two homes. Just works. I live in England, he lives here, and we go back and forth.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay, okay. That's amazing. Now I want to go back in your earliest days. Now you saw Elvis on the Ed Sullivan Show, and you wanted to be Elvis. Is that right?
Yeah. Even when I tell the story, it just sounds crazy, but I was five and a half. And as you know, all the families would sit down on a Sunday at 8 o'clock, and a family show, everybody would watch it. So we're all watching, and at the end, Ed Sullivan would always bring out something for the youngsters, as he used to say. And Elvis came out. I was
Yeah.
five and a half. My eldest sister by 9 years, so she was 14 and a half, so just exactly the right age. He started to do Don't Be Cruel. She started to scream. And I'm only a little girl, so I'm looking at her thinking, what the hell's the matter with you? And then I went into the screen like that. And in my little brain, little light bulb moment, it said, I'm going to do that. What a thought to have at that age. I didn't even think about him, yet
Were you kind
guy.
of like a tomboy growing up?
Pardon me?
Were you kind of like a tomboy growing up?
Yeah. I'm a strange combination. I've always been a tomboy, but very, very, very tough, but very vulnerable. I'm a real dichotomy. Don't even ask.
Were you bullied in school? Like, were you tough or just one of the guys or what?
Never bullied. I was and still am pretty much a loner. If I have a girlfriend, it's one girlfriend. If I have, and I hang with the guys a lot. I'm one of the guys, but I'm not. It's maybe because I had so many sisters, that I went the other way. Because there was four girls in this, and
Hmm.
you don't even need any outside people. You got family of five, and you're a unit to yourselves, so you're a lot to yourselves. But yeah, my mom, I was
Hmm.
always the tomboy. I was always t-shirt, blue jeans, short hair, bongos. Paid bongos at 7. So
Hmm. I know, I do know about your family, and I'm going to talk a little bit about Patty and Michael a little bit later. Now, you went to England. Now, did Mickey Most take you to England when he saw you in Cradle that you were playing with your sisters? Is that how it went?
we were first in the Pleasure Seekers at 14. That was when I started. Picked up the bass, became the lead singer. So I was a fun person with the bass guitar. That band lasted from 64 till
Okay.
around 1968, at which point we changed the band around and we went heavier. We were a show band, went heavier, and started to write our own material. My little sister came in to sing. She had a really good Robert Plantish type voice, and I was put at the back. So I
Hmm.
became excellent on my bass because no longer did I have to do both. I was just back there. And it was at this point that Mickey Most came to Detroit. and saw the band. I did one of the songs I'd written called Brain Confusion and Jailhouse Rock. So there's the Elvis connection. And it was the second offer in 1 week. The first came from Elektra Records, who saw the band and offered me a solo contract. The second came from Mickey, who saw the band, offered me a solo contract. Jack said, I'll take you to New York, put a male band around you, and make you the next Janis Joplin. Mickey said, I'll take you to England, put a male band around you, and make you the first Suzi Quatro. No choice.
Ah, you broke the mold. There was only one Suzi Quatro.
Well, he saw me. I'm not Janis Joplin. I don't want to be Janis Joplin. I love her, but I'm not like her. She's more of a blues singer. I'm more based in rock, you know. So Mickey saw me. He wasn't quite sure what I was, but he kept saying to me, "You're different. You're unique. You're a one-off." That's what he kept saying to me. Mm-hmm. So I went to England. Yeah, I left the band, left the family, left everything with my bass guitar and my suitcase, and went to follow my dream.
That's great. That was brave of you. You were very young at the time. Now, so he would help you put the band together. And if memory serves me right, you said that you picked for your future husband, Lynn Tucky, because he looked the most like an American truck driver. Is that right?
He was. I had a trio first to begin with, and then the guitar player was American, and he caused a little bit of trouble, and he left. And my drummer said, "I have this guy that I know plays in the Nashville Teens, so can he audition?" And I was kind of against it, friend of a friend of a friend, and then I finally said, "Okay, bring him in." And I was on the floor when he came to the guy's apartment playing Scrabble, and my drummer said, "Oh, here's Len Tucky." I always remember this. And I went, "Okay." And I was being belligerent. And I looked at his feet. Then I followed these legs. And I followed these legs. And I followed these legs. I wondered if they would ever end. Up, 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 up. This big guy looked menacing. And then he smiled. And the sunshine came out. And so I thought, yeah, I like the big guy. I like the look of him. And we went to the rehearsal room at about 1 o'clock in the morning. So we got on the amps, and I said, let's do a Chuck Berry, because that's how I test my guitar players. So we did a Chuck Berry, and he played it with the right feeling. And I knew I had found my guitar player, look-wise and playing-wise. I'd also found my first husband. I didn't know that at that point, but that happened pretty quickly afterwards, yeah. So we were together for a long time. We had 20 years together, 2 kids and a grandchild, and we're still very good friends now. Good player. A key ingredient in the early Quattro sound.
Was it love at first sight with him when he met you?
Yeah,
Was it love at first sight?
we liked each other. But it didn't take long. We went on the road pretty quickly. The Slade tour that we went on, Mickey got me to be put on that tour at the last minute. I was the opening act. And we sort of went on that right away. And I would say within 2 or 3 weeks, we were in love. Quick as that.
Yeah. That's cool. Now, do you? What was the reason you felt like America really wasn't accepting you? That you never really made it in America? Was it because you scared everybody over here?
It's not that I never made it there. That's not true. I didn't have as many hit singles in America. That's a fact. And
That's what I meant.
Yeah, that's because I was based in the UK. And if the truth be told, Mickey, bless him, I love him. He was always afraid for me to have big success in America, because he was afraid I would leave him and go back to my home country. So he kept chopping and changing the record labels. Every song was on it. So that didn't help with longevity. But I did start touring there in 74. I did have lower end of the charts hits. I did a lot of gigs. I toured all the time there. Did the Cooper tour in 75. My albums did quite well. And then, of course, I did Happy Days in 77. And then Stumbling In was a huge hit in America. But, yeah, it was...
I remember that. I felt like America tried to water you down to be accepted over here. You know, you were so tough and, kicking ass over in England. And when you did like Stumbling In, Didn't they kind of water you down to bring you to?
I think what happened was, but like I said, I was based over in the UK, so based in Europe, I toured all the time, and I'm on to 55 million records now. Um, I don't think
Okay.
America was. It's on my documentary. I forget who says it. One of the big girls says it. They weren't quite ready for me when I started over there. They were more ready for me in Europe, and they didn't quite know what to. This girl with a bass guitar. Are you kidding me? Leading a band of men. Are you kidding me? And then when I did Happy Days, playing leather Tuscadero with a bass guitar, leading a band of men, then they seemed able to accept it. So they found Suzi Quatro property through leather Tuscadero, which is nuts. But anyway, it doesn't matter how it happens. It happens.
Now,
Yeah, it's all on the documentary, Susie Q.
how did that come? Now, yeah, I want to ask you about the documentary. That's one of my questions. Now, how did that come about? Did Mickey get you the part,
Oh
Happy
no,
Days?
no. Right. Long story short, they were having problems with Pinky Tuscadero. They liked the Tuscadero idea, so they decided to create a little sister, which was leather. They had the script, I think, for about 8 months, maybe. And the search went out, and they couldn't find what they were looking for. They wanted somebody who was tough but vulnerable, who could sing and act. And the casting lady, Gary Marshall's sister, Ronnie Hallen, she was in search for this person. She went home, and her daughter had a collage of Rolling Stone covers on her bedroom wall. And she looked at my picture with the leathers on the cover, and she went, "Who's that? That's who we're looking for." And the daughter said, "That's Suzi Quatro." And they called me on tour in Japan, and they said, "Would you be willing to fly to LA and audition for this great show?" I hadn't seen it yet. It was my publicist, Toby Mamus, and he said, "Believe me, it's a show you would want to do." So I flew over, and I went in my own street leathers. I had lots of street leathers. Went in and did the audition, met the Fonz, met the director, read for the part. And then they said, "Go back to your hotel because we need to discuss you." So I'm waiting in the room for the phone call. And the phone rings, and they say, "We want you for 3 seasons. You're in. We love you." And at the same time, the TV was on in the hotel room, and it said, "Newsflash, the king is dead." So I can't even begin to tell you. I can't begin to tell you the number of coincidences and epiphanies that happened with Elvis and me. Unbelievable. But anyway, I got the role. So that's how that happened. And I asked Ronnie Howard, who I've stayed very close with Ronnie and Henry. We email all the time. And on one time we were talking with Ronnie. I was curious. I said, "Tell me something." I said, "First of all, did I ever feel like a new," because it was my first acting role, "did I ever feel like a new actress to you?" And he said, "No. No." And I said, "Did I ever feel new to the show?" He said, "No. You were in the show, like you were always in it." Everybody said, it was real comfortable, wasn't it? Like I was always in that program. It's strange. It was fate. It was meant to be.
Mm-hmm. Now, I heard that they offered you a spin-off and you turned it down.
I didn't want, I had done
Why is that?
done 3 seasons. And that was enough of Leather Tuscadero. I was Suzi Quatro, and I'm out there working. You didn't want them to blur the lines too much that, okay, who is she, Leather or Suzi? It became that way. So I thought 3 seasons, that's enough. And I wanted to do other kinds of acting, which indeed I did. I did lots of English series. I did musicals. I played Tallulah Bankhead, which I wrote. So I didn't want to be typecast. And I remember Henry telling me how difficult it was for him to get work after being the Fonz. And let's be honest, Leather Tuscadero was kind of like a Fonzie type character. So I did not want to be typecast for that for the rest of my life. I think I made the right decision. I did 3 seasons. That was enough.
Looking back in hindsight, do you think that maybe you wish you would have taken the spin-off?
That would have pushed me in a different direction. Look at the direction my career took. I did everything. Like I said, I did musicals. I was on BBC Radio 2 for 15 years. I've written 6 books. I've just had 2 charting albums. I've got a duet album coming out with KT Tunstall in about a month. I don't think if I had done Leather Tuscadero spinoff, I think that's who I would have been for the rest of my days because it was that powerful of a show.
Yeah.
I like to do everything. Like I said, don't box me in. That would have boxed me in. Absolutely. It's enough that people remember me very fondly from what I did do on that show. That's enough.
Yeah. Okay. Now I want to talk a little bit about your family. You had, four sisters, and wasn't there a lot of competition? Like, I, I think I read somewhere there was a lot of, you know, clash between you and Patty, who joined Fanny. Good or
Yeah, no, no, we're good. I think that when you have a family of 5 kids and they're all in the same business, there's going to be rivalries, and I did get picked out of the band and I did make it. She's had her own kudos. She's been in Fanny. People know who she is. I think she had, and we've talked this over 8 million times, and yes, we're close. Yes, we love each other. But I think it was a hard pill for her to swallow because it was her band to begin with, and she really wanted an all-girl band to make it, blah, blah, blah. And we've talked this through. She's very proud of me, but she probably had some areas to get through on that, which is understandable totally. And you're never going to get away with siblings without a little bit of that. You're just not. It's just not going to
Mhm.
happen.
What about Michael? Because on this album, you sang about Michael. Michael, you'll never change.
That wasn't about my brother. He
And
thought
I
it was.
thought,
Yeah,
when I heard it,
he thought it was. Every Michael
I
I
thought, how
know.
sad,
Yeah,
that they don't get.
every Michael I know thinks it was about them, but I won't even tell who it is. Actually, the guy I voted for is now passed away. But Mickey, my brother Mickey, I call him Mickey. He's probably one of the finest pianists I've ever heard. He's never had any issues with me. None. We're both Geminis.
Mhm.
He respects me as a performer. I respect him as a performer. He's a good guy. He's a good guy, yeah. But all of us, we're all close in the family, Not without our issues, but I one time did a meet, not a meet and greet, a question and answer after one of the premieres of Suzi Q, my documentary. And somebody asked these questions, and I just went, okay, everybody in the audience, can I have a show of hands of anybody who doesn't have issues in their family? And I looked out. One hand went up, and then she went and put her hand back down. I said, okay, this, it's not a big deal. There's no family without this. There isn't, and we are all fine. I honor my mother and dad on stage. I talk about the early band. I have done since day one. I've talked about the band. I give everybody their just due, We were a good band. The Pleasure Seekers were a good band.
Now, you mentioned your documentary. Can we see that over here in America? How do
Oh,
we do
God,
that?
yeah. It was on the top of the Amazon charts for ages. Suzy Q, you can get it everywhere. I mean, I think it was shown on
Okay.
certain
Um,
TV shows in America. Oh, yeah, it was very known. Had great critics. Um, and the critics liked it because I insisted, even though I had scissors, because it's my life. I told the director, if it's true, even if it's uncomfortable, it stays in. And I'm so glad I did that because there are moments in it that I call my cringe moments, where when I was, at the Q&As, I wanted to go on the ground and crawl out of the movie theater. And now they're my favorite moments in the film. So it's good that you put those uncomfortable things in. It shows it warts and all. Everything's not always easy, It's just not.
well, you've had a great career, and you know, I also mentioned in the email that I sent you that I'm really hoping you're in America early next year because I want to honor you at my Vegas Rocks Magazine Awards show. I would love to have you there.
I hope I can get there. That would be great. I think things might change with. I've got a uncovered EP out right now with 6 of my favorite tracks on it. People I love, and Sun Records Primary Wave. They asked me to do this sort of in preparation for the Suzi Quatro KT Tunstall album that comes out soon. And there's going to be announced soon a live stream all over the world for people to buy tickets
Okay.
and see me do these tracks from Uncover. The only chance you're going to be see, to do it. So I've been getting my chops together. I did. There's a James Brown track on it, and I showed off on the bass in the recording studio. It makes me laugh. I showed off. And I never thought I was going to have to play it live. So then I had to learn it to play it and sing it. I'm going, good, Susie, that'll teach you, showing off. But yeah, so that's coming up. And like I said, the album with KT, it's so good. It is just so good. People are hearing it and going, oh my God. I don't know how it happened. We became friends and we fused. And this,
Mhm.
you can't buy this with money. It either works or it doesn't work. So anyway, very busy. The last two albums charted that I did with my son, No Control and The Devil in Me. He produced, co-wrote with me, and played guitar. And he produced Uncovered. And he produced the Suzi Quatro KT Tuscadero. I'm reluctant to say the title because the company hasn't announced the title yet. So I have to wait for them to do that.
It, looking back, is there anything in your career that you would have done differently?
I'm one of these people that doesn't believe in regrets because I think everything happens as it should. Even the bad stuff, it's supposed to teach you something. So, no, my career went how it's supposed to go. It just did.
Mhm.
And I'm in the proud position of being 59 years in the business, still recording, still doing. Right now, I'm getting the best critics of my life on stage. I can't believe it when I read it. It's like I wrote it myself. It's like, wow. The Devil in Me got the best critics of my
Mhm.
entire career, that album. So I'm getting all this kudos right now. And I think my career went exactly as it should do. And when I went to the first premiere of Suzi Q, the end of 219, Regent Theatre in London. So I haven't seen it on the big screen. And that's a little bit nervous, with audience. You're kind of, oh my God, you don't know what the reaction is going to be. So I was only
Yeah.
supposed to come up at the end and of course do the Q&A, but I wanted to see the film with the audience. So I snuck in when the lights went down, stood on the side. Few people saw me. I went, shh. So I'm watching. Girl after girl comes on saying, if I go like that and condense it, they all pretty much said the same thing, that they would not have done what they did if it hadn't been for me doing it first. And you're talking like Debbie Harry, Cherie Curry, Joan Jett, Lita Ford, Danita Sparks, KT Tunstall. I hope I'm not forgetting anybody. And that's what they all said. I find myself starting to cry. I was crying. It affected me. Because I think, and I'm being very honest, I never realized that I was doing what I was doing. I say this to you too because I was your idol. I didn't know I was doing this. I honestly was just being me. And then it dawned on me. It dawned
Mhm.
on me what I did. And I called Cherie the next day in LA. And I told her the story. And I said, in all seriousness, Cherie, I've just realized something. She said, what? I said that me doing what I did gave permission for women all over the world to be different. And there was this long transatlantic pause. And she went, and you just got that? I said, yeah. So we started to laugh. But I think, and I'm sure you'll agree, if I'd been any other kind of a person, I haven't got an agenda. I didn't have an agenda. If I knew what I was doing, it wouldn't have worked. This is what you picked up on. It is. This is why you liked me. And I now get this. I was just out there doing. You didn't think there's a girl showing her stuff. I'm sure you didn't. You just thought, I like this person, whoever this person is. I don't actually do gender. I'm just me.
Mhm. And I'm glad that you are you. You broke the mold after you. I mean, there were so many, artists because, I was 14 and 13 when you came out, and it didn't matter the Runaways or the Go-Go's or anything. They never mattered as much to me as you, and that's probably why I still have these albums since I was like 14, because they're the only ones I didn't sell practically because they meant a lot to me. And I just adore you, and I hope to meet you in person someday. And is there anything else that you'd like your fans to know that
Um,
you haven't told them?
well, no, I just humbly say that I can't believe I've been allowed to do what I love for 59 years. Thank you all for sticking
Mm,
with me. I say to everybody, thank you very much. I ain't done yet. Retire to me is a dirty word. It's a
mhm.
dirty word. I'll give you my famous quote to end the interview with.
Okay.
Okay. I said this when a journalist asked me at the young age of 35, I'm now 72, 35, he said to me, when are you going to retire? And I said, when I go on stage and I turn my back on the audience and I shake my ass and there's silence, then I'll stop.
Don't stop. Don't stop. We love you, Susie.
I won't.
And I'm one of your biggest fans in America. You know, so much of those idiots in Indiana that didn't understand you back then, but I did, and I always loved what you did. And I'm gonna keep up on all your music from now on.
Thank you very much. And yeah, get all the new stuff and watch out for that stream announcement. And thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for your time, Susie.
Thank you.
Okay, well, that was with Suzi Quatro. Thank you for tuning in to my Sally Steele Rock Show. And we will see you next time on the streets of rock and roll. See you next time.